I'd like to show how to access historical information about Philippi or the Philippians. If I open up here in the ESV, English Standard Version, and open to Philippians, I can see some of the historical background here, the authorship of Paul and Timothy, and to all the saints in Christ Jesus who are at Philippi. So if I right-click here, it brings up this box with various information. And if I press here on the English word of Philippi, I have various options. Here are the various encyclopedias and dictionaries, which will have, background information about Philippi. I could also press on the topic guide here, and that brings a great variety of resources. So it's another way of accessing the encyclopedias and the dictionaries. I can also see related verses where Philippi shows up. Now for Philippi, it doesn't show any results in sermons, illustrations, or interactives, but it does show, for instance, various media resources, for instance, pictures of ruins and things like that. And those are also included in the encyclopedias. We have the atlas that can show different places where Paul came. So here we see Paul's journey here and how he came to Philippi. So that is a helpful resource. We also have biblical people there, a little bit more of atlases. Here we see different events, like Lydia became a believer there. Paul and Silas were imprisoned, and various events that happened in this area. So if we come back here to Philippi, and we press once more on Philippi here, we can also access what is called all resources. And so that opens up also a variety. This is a concordance that is talking about Philippi, and just a lot of different information that the city and its people here. So is one of the better known New Testament cities. And so it's very, very useful in that way. Another thing we can do here is right click on Philippi and go to Philippi Place. And so if we do press the place, then we see also here the different resources. Now, another thing that we can do is come up here to the library. And in the library, we have various options of what we could look for. So, for instance, we could look for commentaries on Philippians. And so that gives us a helpful information of different commentaries, and the beginning of the commentaries will usually speak of the historical data. Another thing that we could put in here is it's another way of also looking for the Bible dictionary. So we can find them all over the place, and there we can have more information. We could put things like Atlas and open up other maps. Here's the Logos Deluxe map set. And that gives us the pictures here of, here's Philippi, because I have this open to Paul's letter to the Philippians. So that gives us more information of where it was in the old world. Another thing that is really cool here is that we can access the Bible timeline. And this opens up for us different options of what different scholars say about when they believe that Philippians was written. So here, for instance, we have D.A. Carson and others who, if we scroll down here, we can see that they believe that it was written in about the year 62. Guthrie puts it about a decade earlier here, 50 to 51. A.E. Hill, he has it about 61 and 62. So we see that most of them have a similar timeline there. So these are various of the resources that we can access, and all of this is very useful for getting to the historical background of any of these places in the Bible, and in this case of Philippi.